Hello, um, subscribers, patrons, fans, followers, supporters, and generally anyone who happens to stumble across my videos. Sorry, it took me a little while to remember my little beginning intro thing, but welcome to another random live stream drawing session, I guess. And woohoo! Look! I figured out how to do the whole like picture within a picture thing. It never really bothered to like look into it, but after a little bit of clicking around, figured out how to do it. But just gonna go ahead and start this drink and draw session. And for those who are wondering, this episode is brought to you by no. So for those who are wondering, I'm drinking Miller Genuine Draft (MGD), and I've never had it before, and I've heard a lot of like positive things about it and never bothered to actually drink it. And like me being an alcoholic I used to be, and kind of sort of still am, but not as bad though. I never bothered to have a MGD, a Miller Genuine Draft. Oh wait, you know what? I'm lying. I had one in a restaurant a while ago, but I'm just now remembering it. But yeah, I was like in the 7-Eleven thinking like wow, I don't remember at this point in time. I didn't remember ever drinking a Miller, but I keep hearing keep hearing it's Miller time, and Miller's like the best beer of the bunch. I'm over here looking for a beer, but it's like over on this side. It's crazy. So I figured I'd get me a few. But anyway, uh, let's get this doodling session. Let's get this doodling session started. Now, I decided to do like a drink and draw because, uh, as I stated in my previous live stream of my sketchbook tour, like I haven't been doing any sketches lately because I've just been so burnt out on drawing after doing this whole load of commissions. And I completed my Patreon commissions, but I still have these commissions left over from a couple of years ago. And because of my whole like life situation, like I was never able to complete it. But look, I finished one. Sweet, isn't it? Hold on, I can't see. I can't see what I'm recording right now. Um, whoops. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's looking pretty neat, isn't it? And I don't know if you can see that really like in this small window thing here. I accidentally closed my Photoshop. There we go. It's back. But yeah, I finished one, and I believe I still have two or three more to go. And these are like commissions that I was commissioned like years ago to do back when I was in prison. And this lovely lady commissioned me to do drawings of some of her family portraits, and the one I just showed you was of her father, who had served in the armed forces. I can't remember which, but judging from the uniform, I, I don't know. I can't even judge from the uniform, but I'm assuming the Air Force, perhaps. I have no idea, but yeah, this is she commissioned me to do several of her family portraits while I was in prison, and I had already done her. I had already drawn her grandfather and her great grandfather, and right now she's having me do her father, her mother. Well, wording, phrasing. She's having me draw her father, her mother, and her um, grandmother. So I think that's just two of these portraits left to do. And I already started like the base sketch for the second one, just really quick here. And like I do the base sketch in pencil, and then proceed to just after it's roughed out in pencil, I do this to it, and that's all ballpoint pen. For those of you that are wondering, and yeah, it was a pretty daunting task, especially like working in ballpoint pen because it's so permanent. Like when you make a mistake, like it's there permanently, so you whatever mistake you make, they better be small ones. So as you can see, there are like very minute mistakes, like here on the cuff, and somewhere here on the truck, and those are there to stay. But just as long as they're not catastrophic mistakes, um, like no need to start all over. But anyway, since I'm done with all those commissions and just have these few remaining commissions from left over from a couple of years ago left to do, like I find myself like being um, somewhat unmotivated to draw just because I'm so burnt out on drawing. So like often what I like to do is just do some free range sketches, you know, so to speak. Just like sketches not attached to anything or any commission. Just something where I can just be free to doodle whatever. So that's what I'm doing. And I figured I may as well like make it a drink and draw session because after getting through all these commissions, it's I've been somewhat dragging my feet on like starting some of my personal projects, and still haven't quite breaking it past the mental conceptual phase because there's just so much involved with like creating a project. But right now, I guess I should just focus on the scripts, writing up like the beginning storyline of how we're introduced to some of the characters that I want to start drawing out. But these aren't the characters. I'm just doing some random doodles, just for me. Like sharpen the sword, shake off the cobwebs, all that good stuff. I figured I'd mess around with this whole picture within a picture thing, and it wasn't too difficult to figure out. Oh yeah, I was gonna put on some music. Looked up some royalty-free music, so let's check it out. Whoops. Uh-oh. There we go. Now I'll keep it turned down a bit so it doesn't. These freaking gnats. Sorry, like the area around my apartment has they, we keep getting these gnats every now and then, and they invade the apartment, and they just buzz around like whenever they want, wherever they want, like they own the place. Sometimes I have to grab at them and show them who's boss. This E's a little high. There we go. Boy, you son of a bitch. I missed it. I missed it. Hey, Cal Larkin. What's up? Cal Larkin just showed up. I figured out the whole picture in a picture thing. Ain't that cool? I think it's pretty sweet. That way people can see my ugly mug as I'm doodling. Cal Cal's saying he hasn't figured that out himself. It's uh pretty easy. Like when you after you click around, I'm wondering if I could just show you how I did it. Okay, I went in here. Oh, you can see into infinity. I went to the sources, and here I already have my video capture device. That's my webcam. The display capture right here, that's the whole monitor that you see that I'm drawing in. But the video capture device is the webcam, and you click on add. In order to add that, you click on add and you select your video capture device, and here you will hit OK. And after you hit OK, like it should find your like webcam and show you like a little preview here in the preview box. But since I already have a video capture device, it's not showing me anything because I only have one webcam and that's already set up. And then you hit OK, and then it'll give you this little window here that you can just manipulate and kind of move around whatever. And you can also mess with the size of it. Oh wow, look at that. Ooh. Sorry, just friggin' messing around. Anyway, I'm gonna get rid of this other capture device. Are you sure you wish to remove video capture device too? Yes. But yeah, that's how I figured that out. Just clicking around there. I hope that was helpful and informative. And anyways, back to the drawing. If anyone out there is watching who's having trouble to figuring out how to do the window within a window, showing your monitor and your webcam, just refer back to this little drink and draw sesh. Just do a little quick tutorial of how I just more or less figured that out or stumbled upon it with some just clicking around. It's pretty fairly easy. It's you just look around and see that see some of the displays and some of the options they have. It's somewhat pretty intuitive. Um, I gotta hit the head. I'll be right back. Whew, and I'm back. Hold on. I probably shouldn't showcase that sort of language. BRB again. I'm running low. Ah. Yes, I washed my hands, Jessica. Hmm. Glad you could join us. Did you see this? Pretty funny, I think. But it's just my sense of humor. Anyway, on to the next sketch. Sometimes I like starting with the eyes and the eyebrows just because they're so expressive. Yeah, Jessica saw it. Sunny D's nuts. I don't know if anyone's ever said that before, but these are just like some of the random thoughts that I have when I've been drinking. Hells yeah, I'm down with purple stuff. I drink purple stuff every day, all day if I could. You know what? I think I really needed this because it's been a while since I've been able to just sketch or doodle this loosely, especially with the tablet. Like, I decided to do this drink and draw sesh with the tablet and the window within a window thing because fairly soon I'm going to be working on a bunch of animations. I'm hoping, and I'm going to utilize this tablet as much as possible. Also, I want to create a lot of free auctions in order to see if I can earn enough to get myself a Wacom Cintiq. But before I do, like once I get the appropriate funds, I'm gonna shop around and like see what other artists are using, and if they're using like a cheaper brand that's just as good, I'll opt to buy one of those. But only time will tell. Oh, not done with this one yet. Jessica Darkfire says AFK. I have no idea what that means. Cal Larkin says, I'd love to watch you do animations. Maybe I can learn a thing or two. Hey, Christina's here. Nice to have you back, Christina. Um, ho, ho, oh, she's telling me of a brand that's pretty close to Wacom. Let me write that down. Um, alternative to Wacom. Who Ion? Huion? I'm assuming it's Chinese, just because of the wording somehow. Check out Brad Calbo's list of tablets. He's reviewed a lot. I'm gonna have to write that down too. Oops, wrong pen. No, that was the right pen. No. Brad Calbo's tablet review. Okay, and I'll put it here under my various notes and such. And Christina says, yes, it's a Chinese brand, but they have been catching up on tech and almost just as good as Wacom for half the price. Sweet. I'm definitely going to have to check that out. Thanks, Christina. Oh, Cal says Hoyan has batteryless pens. Wait. Oh, wow. Their pens used to require batteries? Oof. Yeah, but Christine says they have batteryless pens now. Yes, yes, I agree, Carl Larkin. I'm gonna have to look into that. Ooh, excuse me. Christina says, and charging that they would give you 2 pens. Wacom hoarded the patents, Cal Arkin says. Christina says, but not anymore. They finally upgraded even closer to Wacom. Give them a run for their money. I might have to check that out. Cal Arkin says, now if only they can make a mobile studio alternative. He uses a Surface Pro 3 at the moment. Cal also says, gotta draw more, so it's good to have something on the go. Yeah, I was like wondering about that too, just like getting one of these like iPads or the tablet pads just to have around to do like digital artwork and animations and such on the go. It's a nice thought to have, but like I'm not really one to just go around and do stuff. I'm a homebody, but it's nice to have the option to do so. Christine says she's got the Surface Pro 4. Don't get 4. I guess the Apple Pencil is pretty good. Hmm. Let's move on to the next face. Um, Cal Arkin's asking, how close is it to paper when referring to the Apple Pencil or one of those Apple products? And Christina says, not too sure, didn't get to play with it much, but felt great in my hand, like it was lighter than my Surface Pen. I like the hard nib on it too. Hmm. These products, these artistic products sound very intriguing. I wish I had the money to invest in some of these or just play around with them. But maybe later. Hmm. Gonna work on another face. Let's see. Trying to visualize something. Hmm. Oops. Oh. Cal Larkin says Wile E. Coyote. Yeah, very pissed off, Wile E. Coyote. Man, it's been forever since I've had a drink and draw session. And I'm already feeling it. If anyone hasn't really noticed yet, but I do believe I am slurring my speech. Cal Larkin says he can't draw and drink. He gets sleepy fast. Well, do it first thing in the morning. That's terrible advice. Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. Oh shoot, that'd be awful. Wake up first thing in the morning, and then without even freaking skipping a beat, you say, "Well, it's 5 o'clock or 5 p.m. somewhere." You crack open a beer and freaking yeah, and you just drink that sucker. All right, next face. Hmm. It's the scenario is still playing around in my head. Like you wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, your alarm goes off. The first thing you do is just utter the words, "Oh, it's 5 p.m. somewhere." Crack open a beer and drink it, and then get ready. Get ready for your day. I think I'll put that in a little animation or something. That's too good. Nope. BIB. Whoops. In the back. Did you miss me? Probably not. I don't know. Okay. Back to drawing. As long as you missed me a little bit, I'm fine with that. Ah. I have not seen the Cyberpunk gameplay teaser. I remember watching the Cyberpunk trailer like freaking ages ago, and with that song from I believe the group is called Archive, and the song's called Bullets. Just a pretty impressive teaser from like years ago, and just now I'm just seeing like other trailers for Cyberpunk. coming out, but I have not seen the gameplay just yet. I saw the video floating around, but I didn't bother to check it out because I've been too busy just like watching videos pertaining to the political, the current political environment, and oh my God, it's just fucking crazy. It's like I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've been ranting and raving about for the last several years is just now coming to fruition. It's like all coming to pass, and it's like scary and slightly relieving in a sense. But anyway, yeah, I've just been too busy, just wrapped up in like just political videos, and I think I'll check out the or should I check out the trailer now? Just do like a little YouTube reaction thing. Nah, I feel like that'd be lame. I don't know. I don't think you even want to know what I suspect or speculate Trump might be involved in. It's uh, it's some pretty shady shit. Not that there's like any legitimacy to my speculation, but it makes a scary amount of sense. Oh wow. Uh, I think Cal Larkin's telling me the gameplay footage is about 40 minutes. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out in my own time because to do like a reaction video would be just a little too long to do it on a live stream. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. How do I feel about the socialist democrat movement? Wow, that's a heavy question to throw in a drunk right now. But the idea I have about socialism, capitalism, communism, like in theory, they all look good on paper, but in practice, all forms of this all forms of these economic systems tend to fall apart. Like they, I believe they all have their merits. They all have their good intent. Like all forms of these economic systems, and the one that we have is capitalism, and then you have your communism, and then your socialism. but at their core, they all seem to have their good intentions, but they all tend to fall apart due to corruption. Now, I do believe that capitalism is freaking great and all, and who wouldn't want to capitalize on their own endeavors, on their own sweat, blood, and tears through their own efforts, just to make themselves rich men? But I believe capitalism has somewhat become misconstrued, especially in the higher echelon of governments, where they utilize capitalism not in the sense of capitalizing on their talents, their skills, or anything of that nature. They're capitalizing on human lives. So I do believe that if we were to utilize a system, an economic system, which um, took different parts of these uh, economic forms of government, the idea I had is that people who work in government would now this is just my idea, like, if I were to ever become president and just or make the decisions in this company this country. But capitalism is great for the citizens, so that way capitalism can be utilized for the citizens alone, where citizens can um, earn money through their own endeavors, through their own hardships, and through, well, not hardships, but through their own hard labor and efforts, to capitalize on their blood, sweat, and tears, to capitalize on their hard work and ethics. But I believe people who work in government should adopt a um, communist economic system, because when you work in government, you're not working for yourself, you're working for the people. So nowadays, I find that, or I perceive that a lot of people who work in government just do it to suit their own needs, to suit their own agenda, to give themselves these hefty raises, in a sense. And a lot of laws that I've seen get passed, if there's a law that says that people who work in government can give themselves a hefty bonus or a raise, they'll just be all over it. But I find that that's corrupt. So I think, in a way, that we can avoid corruption if people who work in government are forced to just work in a communist type environment. But this wouldn't spill over into the citizenship. Citizens who work and labor in this country would still enjoy the benefits of capitalism, but people who work in government are um, working for the people. They are uh, they they're not in that position to serve themselves. They're in that position to serve the country and the people who reside in it. So in that sense, everything that they do is for the people, and in that sense, like any money they earn or such should just be utilized to benefit the country, and not just give themselves like these hefty bonuses, and give themselves these fancy mansions or these fast cars or these like fast huge boats. And I think like a lot of corruption just derives from a lot of that. Politician or Jessica says politicians should not get paid. They should be taken care of, but not paid. Bank accounts frozen. Well, and I completely agree with you. This is that is along the lines of what I'm talking about. It's like you shouldn't vie for these high government positions just for that big bankroll. I mean, you're there to serve the people, so that's what you're meant to do. It's not like something that should benefit you in the long run. It's something or benefit you immediately. It should be taken as somewhat of a duty, a sacrifice to your country, and it should be done with like pride and not greed. So if you work in government, you definitely should be cared for to just suit your own personal needs, in the sense that you won't have to do without, but you should not be, I guess, you should not be um, the people who work in government should not use that position to live a lavish lifestyle, because I believe that's an abuse of that authority. That's an abuse of that power and such. So like I'm right with you, like Jessica, like politicians and such should not get paid in a sense, to like the way I see it, it's like they're just lining their own pockets. And in my honest opinion, like people who are able to capitalize on their own talents and businesses and everything, I believe that once you start making a certain amount, like say if you're a multi-billionaire and such, like once you reach a certain tax bracket, like really high up there, you should be able to you should adopt somewhat of a socialist um, system, in which not all of your money would be taken from you. You just kind of, once you reach a certain tax bracket, the overflow of that money, like from the top, would be utilized for socialist program or social programs and such, to benefit society, to be like funneled into healthcare and social security and things of that nature. But that's only if you're one of the top earners in this country. Like if you're multi-billion dollar and you make money hand over fist like every fiscal year. And that's the idea I have, is that average citizens would work under a capitalist economy. People who work in government would be under a communist economy, and the people who are able to capitalize and earn massive wealth once they reach a certain tax bracket would adopt a socialist economic system. So I believe in that way it would keep corruption at a minimum. Like there's going to be corruption in any form of economic system, but I think by adopting all three and just utilizing them in these specific classes, citizen, government worker, or um, politician, and um, uh, the high tax bracket, just all of them being under different economic systems would really somewhat benefit this country. But that's just my wild wild idea. Cal Larkin says, I wish someone thought of a multi layered system like you just explained. Not going to lie, if I was a politician, I would probably be a devil, but I'd be honest. Yeah, like, I think by forcing like politicians and like government workers, or like the higher echelon of government, to work under a communist system in which they're not in it for their own benefit, but in it for the the citizens and the country itself, it would negate the rampant um, corruption that we see nowadays. Because you see all these politicians and everything that are prevalent today, and they're more or less bred into that seat of authority, mostly for the money. And that's not how it should be. Like the way it is now, like we find that these higher ups and these higher echelons are utilizing capitalism to capitalize on human lives, like these predatory loans, the the prison for profit system that's put in place, and the judiciary system as it is currently. Like if you have the money, you don't have to spend any time at all in prison, and it's just like capitalism at its worst, because in essence it is just capitalizing on human lives. And you also see that in the medical healthcare uh, portion of this country. It's like you have to continuously pay for a cure, and we all speculate that there is some sort of cure all that they're keeping from us, but there's more money in the treatment rather than the cure. So it's all just another form of just capitalizing on human lives. They're capitalizing on human suffering and um, poverty. And when you look at it, that's capitalism in its most evil form. You're not like the average Joe who is able to capitalize on his own efforts, his own hard work, his labor. That's where it's good. But when companies use it to bank on your misfortune, on your low income, on your poor health, that's where it's going wrong. And I'm the man with balls enough to change it. So vote for Black Horse 2020. I'm your guy. I'll put the system in play and see what happens. But I guess that's my whole take on like the any sort of social democrat or any socialist movement. I mean, it's like you have to look at every form of shoot. I lost my vocabulary right now. You have to look at every form of economic system and just see what works and what doesn't. And this is like the system I sort of thought up, and just thinking about the whole thing and just looking at how it's like capitalism is great for the average citizen, but when government utilizes it to suit their own needs, that's when you start getting it all corrupt. And communism and socialism in and of itself, like they all work good on paper, but again, you get that corruption. But if you were to spread these economic systems through like different classes of people, again, citizens, politicians, government workers, and the uh, I guess top earners in this country, the multimillionaires or the multi-billionaires. If you can differentiate these different classes of people and separate them in these economic class groups, I think we would see less opportunity for corruption. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm drawing right now. What I'm drawing kind of sucks. uh, I've just been too busy just ranting. Oh, I'm sorry if I bored anybody. But these are the rants I go on. These are these are the thoughts I have when I'm just stuck in my own head by myself and like just daydreaming like if I were to run this country, how would I run it? Like what would I fix? How would what's the best solution for the major majority of these problems? And these are some of the ideas that I come up with. Cal Larkin says, "Man, the fat cats hear what you're saying. The secret society would come after you." Let them. I'd show them what for. With these are the only guns I need. Smith and Wesson. Shoot. I'm sorry. That was a bad joke. Jessica says, I also think politicians should serve 1 or 2 years in the military too. 2 years in the military. But I haven't served in the military and I want to become a politician. I want to become president. Hmm. Oh, thank you. Is that just for me? Jessica says, oh, okay, fine, you don't have to serve in the military. It's like, okay, Johnson Blackhorse doesn't have to serve in the military in order to become president. Yes. Yes, I'm down with that. Oh, and I was just thinking about this stuff today too. And as I was walking down the street, I was thinking, like, well, since government work, since I'm going to have government authorities and government workers working under a capitalist umbrella, I would hand out government stipends during the holidays for like a free turkey and ham, you know. Wouldn't that be nice? I don't know. I just think about a lot of random stuff, like what I would do if I were president, what I would do if I were running this country. Like, just thinking of the like the core. What is the core root of a lot of the issues that are going on, and what would be the fix to go about trying to mend that? Jessica says, yes, just for me. I don't have to serve in the military to become president. Cal Larkin says, turkey, ham. Turkey ham drools. Christina says, fix the damn schools for one, too. Like, hells yeah. It's like, I believe a lot of money is just being wasted, like, here and there, but I'd like to support the education system and just get rid of a lot of these damn reality television shows on television. You know, like I'd like to have television broadcasts be more geared to educational programming. There are better suited places for garbage TV like reality television to be aired on, and that's the internet. Like I just want an end to keeping up with the Kardashians because I don't want to keep up with them. And the main issue I have with a lot of reality TV is that they showcase a lot of abhorrent behavior as if it's something to be idolized or emulated, and that's just something that is just completely backwards. It's like, why do you showcase this type of behavior? This 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 ridiculousness should not be mimicked or just um, uh, showcased in the least. Yeah, I'd like to write in a policy or of some sort that any reality television on TV, broadcast on TV, should have some sort of educational aspect to it. So, right then and there, the Kardashians would be out. Unless, of course, they try to start up some sort of like cooking show or something. Uh, but no, like I think it would be outright, because I do enjoy some reality television for the educational aspect of it. Because there are some reality TV shows that are out that showcase like something that I've never heard of or seen before, and I believe as long as it's educational, it's worth a watch. But excuse me, like reality television that just showcases fake drama and whatever just for the money doesn't doesn't need to be on TV. If if it needs to be showcased anywhere, it's the internet. There's a place for it, and yeah, that's where it is the internet. But on TV, like I'd like to gear it more toward like educational programs and like um like I guess family friendly shows. I'd like to bring programs like Reading Rainbow back, and if we could get another Bob Ross, that would be freaking awesome. I just looked up and saw like CalArts can say arts and crafts with the Kardashians. Oh, all I can imagine is them like bedazzling jean jackets and pleather pleather pants. That would be the extent of their arts and crafts. Um, just catching up on the chat here. It's all about the views and money. Drama is wanted. Yeah, people want to live that drama. Yeah, I think that's something that it's going to be hard to break society away from. Is that people just they live their lives they live arbitrarily through a lot of these like ridiculous reality quote unquote reality shows, but there's nothing real about reality television. None of it. The Kardashians, Jerry Springer, Um, Bear Grylls, no. I wouldn't mind more Bear Grylls. You know, like just as long as it's as educational. Um, what other example is there? Uh, One of those shows where they just throw like a bunch of strangers in one house and have them all live together. I mean, well, there's no use for that. There's no purpose for that. It's just all just like Christina says, it's just drama. But is that drama really needed? I mean, all they do is just showcase abhorrent behavior, which a lot of people think is favorable and want to emulate, and then you have all these idiots just friggin' copying a lot of these morons on these reality television shows. But no, once I take charge, I'm just gonna boot them all off the air. It's like, yeah, you're done. Just go to the internet. Go show your crappy show on Hulu or Amazon Prime, which I do have subscriptions for, but I can pick and choose what I want to watch. And believe me, I will not be watching any reality television drama garbage. It's all garbage. Ugh. I have not seen Naked and Afraid. I've seen little clips of it, but it's really nothing I'm interested in. Ooh, excuse me. I'm over burping. This is what we have so far. And I will BRB. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, was a good friend of mine. I never understood a single word he said, but I sure helped him drink his wine. Okay, I'm back. I'm back, you guys. You can stop worrying. I'm here. I'm here to save the day. So don't be scared. Because Johnston Black Horse is right here. Oh, God. I hope I didn't sound too creepy. But let's face it, I am creep. You creep. Stop being such a creepy creep. No! I won't! I just looked up BRB, big rib bone, big red birds, big rig bumpers. Jessica Darkfire says WB. Calacan, WB, Whale Blubber. Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers, yo. It's the double WB. Wimpy Boys. Whipped Butts. Jessica Darkfire says, big raging boners. Heyo! Is what Kyle Locken says. Big raging boners. I think after this face, I'm going to have to start a new layer. You guys thought I was going to end this stream after this face? Yeah, you guys were worried. Don't lie. You guys thought I was going to say, after this face, I'm going to end this stream? Nah, not yet. We're having too much fun. Cal Larkin says he got nervous. But then again, Cal Larkin says it's 123 where he's at. Wow. Should get some sleep, Cal Larkin. Or you could just call in tomorrow. Oh, Black Horse, you're a bad influence. Hey, what do you expect? I'm drunk. Wait, that means you're not Black Horse anymore. That's right. That means you're Jack Horse. Oh, did I save my sketches? No, I have not. Let me click save. Projects. Whoops. Ah. Drink and draw sketches. Save. Okay. There we go. Thanks for reminding me, Christina. Whoa. There it is. It's a big day for Cal Larkin tomorrow. He can't call in. Christina says, don't want all that fun sketching to go to waste. Jessica has trained her well. Well, it seems like Jessica has dropped the ball with me. Gee, she didn't even warn me once. Just kidding, Jessica. I'm just busting your chops. Oh, Jessica whips Moon's butt. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Oh, Cal Larkin's going to sleep. All right, Cal Larkin, it's been fun. Hope you have a good day on your big day tomorrow. And I'm going to schedule another live stream sometime later this week. I don't know when. Maybe Thursday or Friday. Oh, excuse me. So, see you later. Have a good night. So many hiccups. Oh, God. Can't stop with the hiccups. Black horse, you're a lush. Oh, oh gosh. Hmm? Christina says she's got them too. Got what? Kick-ups. I can just imagine Christina doing the can involuntarily because she's got the kick-ups. right, new layer. I'm going to draw my personas. Everybody stay out of my way. I got the kick-ups. Don't stand directly in front of me. uh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Uh, the visual just sounds funny to me. Like if I had the kick-ups and had to scream that out loud in a room or just announce that loudly in a room. Everybody, hey, everybody, just um, just wanna just wanna make everyone aware that you don't stand directly in front of me because I've been drinking. I've been drinking a lot, and I right now I have the kick up. So don't stand directly in front of me or like in front of me and to the left or the right because I don't know when I'm gonna kick. You know what? I should just animate that. Just animate that scenario. Yeah, kick ups. Even the name sounds comical. Co-written by Johnston Blackhorse, Christina, and Jessica. uh, okay, this is me just drawing my artistic personas. I always like to draw myself with my eyes closed because I tend to squint a lot, especially when I was heavier. It's like I had this coworker who talked about how much I squinted. I was like, no, my eyes are wide open. They're wide open right now. And we had this little back and forth where it's like I was attempting to just open, like make my eyes as wide open as possible, and I felt like my eyes. So hold on, let me draw it off to the side here. Like I felt like well, I guess I could use this. Personally, I felt like my eyes were like this, just like completely wide open. And she laughed at me because she said like my eyes were normal, like this, more or less. And I had to exclaim like, "No, I'm opening my eyes as wide as they can go." So I like to draw myself just. It looks like I'm drawing myself with like closed eyes, but it's just me squinting. Hmm. Follow along, boys and girls, and you can learn how to draw Johnston Blackhorse too. I usually draw myself with these type of eyebrows because these eyebrows are prevalent in the black horse family with this little jagged arch here. Like I don't know if it comes across in the video, but maybe let me play with this thing a little bit. Oh wow! Wait, no, is this where I mess with it? Yeah, it is. As you can see, it just kind of comes in at the top here. There's this little arch there, so they can be really angry when I want them to be, which is more or less all the time because I'm squinting all the time, especially when I'm out walking in the sunlight. I'm just like walking around like this. Because the sun's always in my face. But yeah, they got that little pattern there, as you can see. And oh, let me set it back. And right about there. So that's why I like that's why I enjoy drawing like these eyebrows there, because like I said, they're pretty these type of eyebrows are pretty prevalent in the black horse family. Anyone with black horse blood in them tends to have these type of eyebrows, and it's sad that the women like tweeze their eyebrows just to get rid of this little arch, because I have some of I've seen photos of some of my younger female cousins with like these eyebrows, and I find that it like accentuates their face in a certain way that I find very like original, and I do admit that it I do find it attractive, and it's just pretty cool. But like nowadays, they just tend to tweeze their eyebrows and everything, and it's just like, oh no, and deep down I'm saying, you're desecrating your black horse eyebrows. You should keep them, wear them proudly. What are you doing? But yeah, like in my family, anyone with black horse blood tends to have eyebrows like this, men and women. I like to draw my little caricature with like this little hair antenna here. And if you've been following along with the comic strip, I don't know if it is shown in the comic strip, but sometimes the this little hair antenna will signify what I'm feeling. It'll stand straight up when there's like an exclamation or something, but then it'll sit in somewhat of Okay, uh, say if this faces, well, let me go ahead and just draw it. So say this face is like facing the other way, it'll sit in a question mark when I'm questioning something or perplexed about something. But anyway, even though you don't see it here, I like to draw it in my little comic strips and in my little persona, my artistic caricature persona. And more than not, in my comic strip, I tend to draw myself in this green army jacket, which I tend to wear a lot. But you know what? I got to get a new one because it's starting to fall apart on me. But oh wait, I almost forgot my ponytail. I drew myself too thin. Let me fatten these cheeks up a little bit. And this neck, I got some bulk to me. There we go. There we go. But yeah, I have the jacket right over here. Let me go grab it real quick. Ah. Woo. I'm drunk. Here it is. Oh. There we go. It's been a while since I put this on because it's been so hot here in Vegas. Freaking crazy. But in the past, like I'd hardly be seen without this jacket, and this is like how much I've patched it up. Like, look at all this patchwork. It's starting to come apart at the seams again. So I'm gonna need to buy a new one. And here's some of the patchwork I did on the pocket here. Yeah. Jessica says it looks comfy. Like, oh man, it is comfy. It's sort of like my security blanket in a sense. Jessica says she needs to get a jacket like this. Yes, you should. Wow, I didn't know that. I had no idea. Jessica says she also lives in Vegas. Wait, I don't know if you wanted me to. Well, you said it in the chat, so I guess it would be public. Huh. I had no idea about that. But that's pretty cool. Like, oh, excuse me. I got the kick ups. I'm gonna start kicking people in the face. Don't stand in front of me. Whew. I know of another participant in the chat who lives in Vegas. Jessica's laughing at my kick-ups joke. Can't forget to draw my scraggly beard. Oh, and my beauty mark. Right around there. Of course, my beauty mark is obscured by all my whiskers. since I'm more or less self-employed, I find no reason to shave. So like my beard's gone everywhere. I'm docking in my glasses. So this is me. I wonder if I can turn around. Hmm. Oh, I fix my collar a little bit. There we go. Ponytail. Hmm. Guess it could be a little scruffier down here. But anyway, yeah. That is the Jay Blackhorse persona. Jessica says it looks good. Thank you. This next persona is probably the most controversial out of all of my personas. Whoops. There we go. Excuse me. I don't know if that came through in the mic, but that was a pretty long, pretty long burp. uh, Pardon me. Okay, this persona is pretty simple. If you do not know this persona, do not look him up. And I say that for your own good. If you do not know who this persona is, then he's probably not for you. And I'm drawing these personas in order of appearance. I didn't see that. Jessica says, I didn't hear anything, lol. Oh, I guess pertaining to my burp. And then she retracted a comment. So after this persona, let me go ahead and throw his signature down. Comes Bihak. Jessica says the retracted one was her accidentally saying something twice. Ah, that was me burping again. And I'm sure nobody heard. Oh wow, it's been a while since I've drawn this persona. Almost forgot how to do it. Jeez. How rusty am I? Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. We can do it. Come on, Black Horse. You can draw Bihak. You've drawn him several times before. No big deal. Pretty much has the same facial expressions as you do, but in hawk form. Jessica says she heard that burp. Oh no! I'm doomed! All hellfire and damnation will now rain upon me! No! Please do not punish me for my transgressions against propriety! The booze made me do it. I didn't want to burp. It just had to come out. I like to give B-Hawk my eyebrows as well. Excuse me. Again with the burping black horse. Stop it. You're grossing everybody out. Oh man. What's wrong with you, B-Hawk? You don't look like a hawk. You look somewhat more of like a parakeet. Oh, it's been a while since I've drawn him. I gotta refine how I draw him. Let me see. Let me try again. Okay. Okay. Hawk. 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 Oh, Christine says, all right, 2 a.m. for me. Time for me to head up to bed. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome, Christina. Hope to see you next time. I'm hoping to start another stream maybe Thursday or Friday, and I'm going to do a let's draw. I haven't decided of what yet, but have a good night and sweet dreams. Hmm. Oh, Jessica, you're leaving too? See you later, Christina. Oh, I thought you were leaving me, Christina. I would have been so alone, so lost, just by myself. Okay, this rendition of B-Hawk is looking a lot better. There's still something about him that's off. I'm gonna have to look up my previous drawings of Beehawk. It's been a while since I've drawn him. I think I'll have to redraw him differently. Oh, for the most part, that is Beehawk. And this other persona, not too many people know about. But he's still got an account up somewhere. In fact, he's got an account up on for Affinity. Oh, excuse me, I still got the kick-ups. No, it's just you and me, Jessica. Hope you're doing okay. You sticking in there? How you doing? You still alive? Are you still with me? Oh my God, Jessica. Speak to me. Oh, there you are. Ah, freaking! I'm a loon. I'm sorry. She's all right. Her tummy's just a little upset. What did you eat? Are you okay? Are you gonna live? Please don't die on me, Jessica. You're the only one here right now. Don't walk toward the light. Don't go toward the light. She had a soda. Shouldn't have had it. What kind of soda? If it was a cream soda, I'd understand. Those tear me up. Oh God. They may taste good, but cream sodas for me are no bueno. And those are my 4 personas. I gotta work on B-Hawk. B-Hawk's not looking like himself. We got me, N_01, B-Hawk, and R34 Rocks. And if you look up Rule 34 Rocks on for Affinity, then you'll definitely see him around somewheres. And unbeknownst to a great many of people, I still have another persona lurking around somewhere. Would you like to see artwork from that persona? I can pull that artwork up right now. That is, of course, if you're not scared, though, because these artworks are very macabre. But hold on. Before you answer that, I will bad ribs brittle boats rip back, bend right bone, bubble rip butts, bend round behind. I can't think of anything clever. I'll be right back. Hey, Grace. Steak sauce. Steak sauce. Oh, for the ribs? No. What's it called? For the steaks? That's my roommate in the background. But anyway, as I was saying, I got another autistic persona lurking around the internets that no one really knows about. But I can show you his artwork if you want. But be warned, it's pretty creepy, spooky. There's nothing explicit or sexual about it though. So, oh, Jessica says okie dokie. So okay, let me pull it up. Let me find one. No, that one's too obvious. Um, Geez, which one do I pull up? Oh, um, Jessica says okie dokie was for when you went away from keyboard. What are you doing now? I didn't hear you. Okay. Um, I was saying that these four are pretty much my personas that everyone more or less knows about. J Blackhorse, that's me, and underscore 01, B Hawk, and R34 Rocks. But there's another persona that's lurking around the internet that not really too many people know about. And I was just asking you if you want to see some of his artwork. And it's like he's separated from these four because his artwork is mostly just macabre stuff. And I was just asking if you want to see it. But be warned, it's pretty spooky. Well, not from the examples that I pulled up. Okay. Um, Let me see. Here's one. There we go. Now, this is based on an actual story that my sister told me of something that she witnessed. So perhaps this creature is actually lurking around the reservation where we come from. Well, he's not humping the tailgate to the truck. He's just searching the back of the truck. Whoops. That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, why is this not? There we go. Hmm. I don't believe it is a Wendigo, but judging from what my sister has told me, it's definitely some sort of interdimensional creature that can alter the flow of space and time. Well, space, I'm not sure, but time definitely. But yeah, these are these are illustrations from that other persona that is I haven't quite released yet. And as you can see, they're more or less pretty creepy. Oh, excuse me. Not sure if you heard that one. Oh, this one is based off of a story that my cousin told me. No, I don't know if you can see what creepy part there is about it, but oh, Jessica heard Jessica heard that burp. But I guess, wait, hold on. Let me set the ambience. Okay. Now this illustration is based off of a story that my cousin told me. Now my cousin, of course, he's Native American and he lives on the reservation. And this one weekend, he was left alone at what we call the sheep camp, which is our grandmother's house because we raise sheep. The first day was spent pretty normally when he was left alone, but the second day, as he walked around the sheep camp, excuse me, he kept noticing like things were somewhat out of place. He would go to the barn, and there were like either some tools or some equipment that was not where they were supposed to be, or where even he left them. And then even walking around the property, just there were just other things just out of place that he noticed. Now on the reservation is like on the sheep camp on the reservation, there's just like a vast, wide expanse of desert. So there's really nobody that would just come onto the property and start messing with stuff. And he was there by himself. But still, like he found things that were just completely out of place and stuff that just not where he left them. And that was on the second day. On the third day, as he was tending to the livestock, we have not only sheep but cattle and horses. The horses are free to roam around whenever we let them out, and they usually tend to come back whenever they feel it's necessary. And the cattle, like they need to be driven, you know, out and about and driven back whenever it's time to do so. So he was out tending to the livestock, and then as he's coming back from checking up on the cattle, he comes as he's driving up to the sheep camp. He comes across three coyotes, and these coyotes are sitting in a perfect triangle. But as he's driving up in his pickup truck, these coyotes don't pay him any mind. It's like they don't even notice him. They're just sitting there in this perfect triangle, and they're just staring straight at our grandmother's house. And he pulls up on the dirt road pretty much right next to this tree of coyotes, and still there's like no acknowledgement of his presence as they just continue staring at her grandmother's house. And seeing this, it just really creeps out my cousin. So what he does is he drives back to his house, which is pretty much adjacent to our grandmother's house, drives his pickup back to his house, and loads up a hunting rifle. And so he grabs the hunting rifle, grabs some ammunition, and drives back to where the trio of coyotes were sitting. And they're just still sitting there, just locked eyes on our grandmother's house. And so he loads up a shot, and he loads up the clip, jams it into the rifle, and starts taking some shots at these coyotes. And it's only then when they start to scatter. And as he's shooting, like two of the coyotes just shoot off toward the horizon, and they just continue running. But one of the coyotes just starts running straight toward him. And um, sorry, I forgot to mention, but he's still sitting in the pickup truck. So he's got the rifle. He's aiming at the coyotes in the pickup truck, and he's just like shooting at them. So like two of them just take off, and the one coyote like it just runs straight toward him, and he's like loading another shot and trying to shoot at it, and he misses, and the coyote just runs right under the pickup truck. And just a moment or two, as the coyote is under the pickup truck, the pickup is still running, but then it just dies. It stops running. The engine just like completely just uh, just quits. And after the pickup truck dies, the coyote just runs straight for the horizon where the other coyotes are running. So my cousin loads another shot into the chamber of the rifle, takes another shot, and he swears that he hits it. And he tells me that he could hear the thump of the bullet hit the body of the coyote and hit the dirt behind the coyote. So he says that the bullet hit the coyote, pretty much goes through it and hits the dirt on the other side of it. But yet the coyote doesn't stop running. It doesn't even break stride. It just continues going toward the horizon and continues to run off. And knowing that this is what us Native Americans call bad medicine, because it's like wicked in every sense of the word, he jumps back in his pickup truck and tries to start the truck, but yet it doesn't even try to turn over. It's not like it's out of gas or the starter doesn't even want to go. It's just that nothing seems to happen as he turns the key. So he tries a few more times, but it's futile. So then he steps out of the pickup truck again. Well, no, like he pops the hood, steps out of the pickup truck, lifts the hood, and then what he sees just astounds him. It stupefies him because what he sees is not possible. Because right there, as he lifts the hood and he looks at the engine, all the spark all the spark plug cables had been pulled from the distributor cap. Now, to further explain that, what the distributor cap is that it's an electronic device with all these spark plugs attached to it, and these spark plugs lead to the engine, and um, the these spark plugs are connected to the spark plugs that go into the engine, and that's what when you start the pickup truck, the distributor cap, like the inner mechanism turns and emits the spark, which the electrical spark, which makes the engine turn over and then continue start or sorry, which continues the inner combustion of the engine and regulates the movement of the pistons. But the thing is that all the spark plug cables were pulled completely from the distributor cap, which is more or less impossible to do unless just done manually. And it does take some effort to manually pull spark plug cables from a distributor cap. But what what's really creepy about the story is that the engine was running fine, everything was good with the engine and the truck, but when the coyote was ran under the truck and was only there for a matter of seconds, the truck died. And upon inspection, somehow this coyote was able to perhaps reach through the engine block and everything, because the distributor cap is just located pretty much on top of like all the engine parts that you see there, and was able to just pull these wires and cables from the distributor cap, just completely killing the engine. And so the coyotes disappeared over the horizon, and that's more or less where the story ends. Like, he had to put the cables back in place and just start the pickup truck, but once he could, the coyotes were gone after that. But yeah, that's what this illustration um, pertains to, is that specific story. But yeah, like, a lot of creepy stuff happens on the reservation, and through my time in prison, like, I got to meet a lot of Native Americans that come from different reservations, and they have a lot of creepy stories, and that's where a lot of these illustrations come from. Is that other persona that I have that's already out there, and believe me, like, he does have a few animations out, but these animations are just animations of pre-existing um, spooky stories and such. And I have attempted to write my own creepy stories under this persona, but they didn't pan out too well. But that's when I was still figuring out the whole writing process. But I do believe that I was able to um, increase my talents in the creepy writing genre. So I've written a few stories under that persona, and that persona is out there somewhere, but I haven't bothered to announce it yet. But anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed, like, these illustrations, and I hope you enjoyed that story. And I'm wanting to publish more of them, but I do have a lot of illustrations that have yet to be released, and I haven't completed those stories just yet. I'm still in the process of rewriting them, but just managing all these personas and all these artworks and these genres, it's just a lot for one guy to handle. But eventually, I'll get around to it. So yeah. Oh, sweet. So I didn't have to. I'm just reading the chat. Like, Jessica was talking about the distributor cap and everything. Like, she understands that it ignites the fuel and pushes the pistons and everything. Yeah, it's a pretty weird story. But yeah, I was able to hear a lot of them. Believe me, there's just so many unexplainable things that happen to on several different reservations, and I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to experience my own. Oh, let me go ahead and pull up one from one of my own personal stories. Let's see, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Um, Here it is. Jessica says she's not a stranger to car stuff. She has a 1974 Dodge Charger in the garage. Wow. She's not a great mechanic, just learning. Pretty impressive. That's nice. But this is an illustration from one of my personal stories. This is something that actually happened to me. Um, I guess I could tell the story if you want. But I guess this happened to me back when I was just starting high school or junior high, and I was how old was I? I was about 15 years old, 14 or 15 years old, and at that time I was living in this small rural town, but my family was moving us all to the reservation. And when I say all of us to the reservation, I'm talking about me, my stepdad, my siblings, and our trailer. And we had a mobile home. I grew up in a mobile home, and during this summer we were going to be moving to the reservation. So we were going to pick up everything and just move out of this rural town that I had been raised in more or less my whole life. And during that time, during that summer, I was just very down and out, and just melancholy. So I would spend a lot of late nights just wandering around the small town where I grew up, and I, I, I would do my best to hang out with what few friends I had at that time, and just really trying to make that summer last as much as possible because I I didn't know if I would be able to come back to that school or continue schooling at that town, and just thinking that I'd have to leave behind all my friends, start at a new school, have to learn to live in a new environment and everything. So that summer I was just really down and out. And during these late night walks, they well actually they would usually start at the theater. I would go to the local cinema and just watch whatever movie was there. But this movie would only or this cinema would only show a couple of movies. One of them being that Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick. And I don't know how many times that summer I watched that movie just to get my mind off the stress of having to move. I swear I would have had to watch that movie perhaps 11 times. But on one particular night, just lying in the theater or just sitting in the theater watching that movie, I had fallen asleep toward the last maybe 30 minutes of the movie and woke up toward the end. And it was just something I did to pass my time because, admittedly, I didn't have too many friends. And the few friends I did have, like around that time, just were too busy to really hang out with me at this given moment during this transition of moving from one place to another. So uh, I would spend a lot of that time alone. And this one night, leaving the cinema after watching Godzilla for the upteenth time, I'm just started walking home late into the night, and it was about 11 p.m. in the evening. And as I'm walking home, walking away from the cinema, I'm thinking you know what? I'm gonna take the long way home. So I start walking to the right instead of to the left, walking up Main Street and walk toward high school, um, the high school street. Um, well, the walking up the street that runs along the high school, which I wasn't sure I'd be able to attend at that moment. So as I'm walking, it's pretty dark because at this time, there are no football games, there are no softball games, and on the street, the football field is to the left of me, and the baseball fields are to the right of me. And as I'm walking, just I don't want to get home just yet, so I figured I'd walk off to the baseball fields, and I just want to sit in one of the dugouts and just spend time by myself with my own thoughts. So I get to a dugout, sit down, and I'm just there, just thinking about like having to leave this town behind me and having to grow up in another area which I'm not like completely familiar with. I guess I am familiar with it in the sense that I would spend the summers on the reservation, but this is another part of the reservation that I've never been to. Like the part of the reservation I'm familiar with is in Arizona, and this is a part of the reservation that I'm pretty new to in Utah. So um, I'm just not looking forward to it at all. Just having to live up or grow up the rest of my teen years in the in a desert environment surrounded by people I don't really know. So I'm sitting there in a dugout, just thinking about all of this, just staring off into the city lights in the distance, and I'm looking off at the city lights, looking up at the stars, and as I'm sitting there in the dugout, and let me just clarify that as I'm sitting there in the dugout, I'm facing toward the south. I guess that's not too relevant, but anyway, as I'm sitting in there in the dugout, I'm just looking off in the city lights and looking off in the stars, and it's like probably like midnight at this point as I'm sitting there. Out in the baseball field, the sprinkler system comes on and starts spraying like a mist of water everywhere. And as this happens, the noise just kind of like draws my attention toward the outfield where the sprinklers are spraying. And as I'm sitting there, just like lost in my own thought and emotions, and just staring off into whatever as I'm watching these sprinklers, I notice something strange in the outfield, right around the right right in the left field. And okay, cool. My roommate just informed me the dinner's ready. But anyway, I noticed something strange off in the left field that I didn't notice before. And as I'm looking at the sprinklers and looking at this strange anomaly in the outfield or in the left field, I noticed this figure standing there. And it's standing there just so perfectly still, it just kind of like somewhat surprises me in a sense. And as I'm looking at this figure standing in the left field of that dark, moonless night, I notice that this figure is like in the shape of a human. Like I can see the silhouette of it, the the frame of the arms, the shoulders, and the head. And as I'm looking, I'm seeing that this dark figure is transparent because I can see like the somewhat hues of light or whatever that are refracting from the sprinklers that are just spraying everywhere, like the somewhat hue of different forms of light from the mist of water that is just being sprayed. And as I'm looking at this point, I'm thinking very logically and saying that I can't be seeing what I'm seeing right now because that's pretty much impossible at this moment. And logically, I'm thinking, like, okay, I know what's going on. As I was staring off into the distance, into the city lights, when I was staring into the city lights, they must have somehow burned an image of a human figure into my retina in some way. So, by arbitrary happenstance, the city lights that I was staring off in the distance definitely like burned this image into my sight. So I look away from the left field and I look down at my feet at the concrete floor of the dugout, and I stare for a few moments, just thinking, like, okay, if that's the case, then definitely this image would have traced where I'm looking, and just I should be able to see it on this flat concrete form. So I'm staring there for a few moments, and I can't see this figure there. So I figure, well, I blink a few times just hoping to refresh that image, but it's not there. So logically, I figure, okay, well, maybe the image that was burned into my eyes through the city lights just dissipated at this point. So comfortable in that train of thought, I look back toward the left field in that dark night at the misty spray of the sprinklers, and lo and behold, that figure is still standing there, pretty much facing toward me. And I'm just sitting there in shock and awe because, like, my previous logical thought has just been blown out of the water at this point. And as I'm looking at it and just studying everything about this figure that's standing there, I'm noticing more things, more details about this figure. And as I take in the environment and take in what I'm seeing, I notice something that creeps me out is that the mists of water that are being sprayed by the sprinklers are entering the field in which this figure is taking up. Like the mist of water is not penetrating where this form has taken shape, but yet this dark form is transparent. I can see through it, but yet the water isn't penetrating this field, this area. And as I'm taking that detail in, the next detail that I see just chills me to the very bone, to my very core. What I notice next is that the figure it has this bobbing motion to it. And as I realize what this bobbing motion means, all my hairs are standing on end, because what I what I see, or what I understand through my perception of what this figure is doing, is that it's walking steadily toward me at a pretty somewhat brisk pace, as if it's walking toward me with intent to just meet me. Because at first, this figure was just standing there, just looking at me. But now, this figure is just walking toward me with a purpose. And at that moment, my mind just says, nope. And I calmly stand up, turn to my right toward the street, walk out of the dugout, and continue to walk toward um, the street from where I came. And at this point, I am just really freaking out, and I'm just doing my best to tell myself, just keep walking, don't run. If you run, you're just going to freak yourself out even more. Just keep walking steadily and calmly and walk back to the street. And this street, mind you, only has one street light. And I keep telling myself, just keep walking toward that street light. Just don't run. If you run, you're going to throw yourself into a panic. And as I'm forcing myself to walk as calmly as I can, as calmly and briskly as I can, I keep thinking, like, if I hear another pair of footsteps behind me as I walk past or walk through this gravel parking lot, I'm going to lose it. But thankfully, I don't hear any footsteps behind me, and I finally make it to the street, to the street light, the one lonely street light on that street. And it's only then I have the confidence in me to turn around and look into the darkness. And as I turn around, um, I don't see anything. There's no shadow figure following me. And to this day, I wonder, like, what did that shadow figure want? That shadow figure was just standing there in the outfield, and that shadow figure appeared to seem like it knew that I was sitting there in the outfield and was just watching me. But the very moment, to me, the way I perceived it, the very moment that it noticed I had perceived its existence, that's when it started walking toward me. It started walking toward me with a purpose, with an intent. What that intent was, I don't know. But the sight of it looking at me and walking toward me just really freaked me out to no end, because the mere visual of it was just shocking. So I just noped it out of there. And this is the illustration of that night. But I wouldn't mind going back to see if I could see it again. But yeah, it was pretty freaky. Anyway, I'm just checking out the chat right now. Jessica Darkfire is scared. I'm sorry I scared you. She's saying no. And Sarah Ad- Adile, oh, nice to see you that you're back. She says, I'm legit getting spooked. Oh, lol. It's 3 a.m., so I guess I'm never going to sleep now. I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sorry. Jessica says, lol. Jessica's got the shivers. And Jessica says, well, I'm not sleeping tonight now. And this is one of my personal accounts. And believe me, this is one of the creepiest ones. But I guess I do have a lighter one if you want to hear it. It's not spooky, it's just perhaps puzzling, but it's, I guess it could be comforting in the sense that it may be a positive story. I don't know. So I guess we could leave on a lighter note. Sarah says, "Hell yeah, more." Okay, let me pull up that illustration. Um, okay, here it is. Okay, excuse me. This story isn't as creepy as the last one, but okay, this story takes place after my after the previous story. So going. Uh, I'm attending high school in my hometown. So um, during my schooling, I would live with my uncle, who who took up residence in my hometown, and uh, the room in which I stayed in was pretty much a storage room, to be honest, because yeah, it did have carpeted floors, but it had a cinder block walls, and it had the pull string light that you see here in the illustration. And what we did was just throw in a bed and somewhat of a dresser cabinet type thing where I would put my clothes. And there was uh, there was a door that led to the room, and then a door which was pretty much the back door of the house and a small slotted window, which you can see in the illustration here, which was pretty close to the ceiling. And I'm pretty sure that that room was just more or less meant as like a storage or like a walk-in, a wider walk-in pantry, and that's pretty much the room I stayed in for my, I believe it was my junior year of high school. So this one particular night, just lying in bed, and it was just a really restless night. I could not get to sleep for the life of me. And I remember I went to bed pretty late, and I was expecting to just fall right asleep, but I just kept tossing and turning, and it was pretty useless to just fall asleep. And as I'm there, kind of like have the covers over my head to just block out any uh, sensations of light or whatever, just hoping beyond hope that just blocking out all the light will just lull me to sleep, but it's not working. So at this time, like I think I'm pretty sure that I've spent 2 to 3 hours just tossing and turning in bed, unable to go to sleep. So I just feel that the effort is just fruitless. So I toss the covers off of my head and just lie there in in defeat. And I blink a few times and I look straight up, and then I catch sight of something that just furrows my brow because what I'm seeing just isn't normal. And as I'm looking, I see this circular object, this circular ball of light above me. And I blink a few times, just thinking like, okay, like I'm seeing like some sort of fractal of light in some sort of maybe debris in my eyes or my eyelashes. So I blink a few times and rub my eyes, but it doesn't go away, and I just keep staring at this circle or this circle of light in front of, like above me. Now, logically thinking, like I believe that it might be like a spot of light um, coming in from the window. So I imagine that it might be like reflected light either coming from a pool of water or maybe a passing car. As I'm looking, this circle of light just continues to just kind of like float there in the same circular pattern. And as I'm thinking, like, okay, it might be like reflected water from a puddle, but or not. It might be reflected light from a puddle. But then as I'm thinking, it's like, but there should be no puddles outside because there was no rain. And like, if there were any sprinklers on, the sprinklers are far from the area from which this window is sitting. So there can't be any puddles outside. And if it was reflected light from a puddle, I would expect to see some sort of ripple in that ball of light or in this circle of light. And as I'm looking, trying to analyze it further, I take in more details from the circle of light. First off, I think it's a circle of light just cast onto the ceiling. But then as I'm taking in the details, I notice that it's not being cast on the ceiling. It's just this orb of light just floating in free space, and that it's not uh, cast light from the window. And as I'm staring at this orb of light, I begin taking in more details of this orb of light, and I notice that there are just like the main sphere that makes up the shell of this light. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. Is that it's somewhat of a shell of light, but inside that shell, there's like another orb of light, and in that, from that orb, there are these like tendrils of beams of these light beams just emanating from this inner inner sphere of light. And I guess the best way you could explain it is like it looks like one of those um, what do you call them? Those electrical balls, if you can understand what I'm talking about, like those like little static electricity um, uh, orbs or something that when you put your hands on it, like it emits these tendrils of electricity. And that's the best way I can describe this orb of light just hovering in this free space above me. And as I'm looking at it, it's pretty close toward the ceiling, and it's pretty much the shape of a volleyball or a basketball, and it's just sitting there, just hovering, and it's just taking in all the details. Like it's got this outer shell of light, but then inside is this sphere of light, and it's just emitting all these tendrils, just like slowly, like moving back and forth, and it's just like floating there. And as I'm looking, I don't get this sense of fear or dread, but this sense of awe and wonderment, just taking in everything about this spectacle that's before me. And as I'm looking at it, just trying to memorize every detail of this sphere or this orb of light, as I'm looking at it, I get the sense that it has some sort of intelligence to it, because internally I get the sense that it notices that I'm watching it. And um, it feels like from the orb's perspective, I feel like it says like oh shoot, I've been spotted. I got to get out of here. So then, in that moment, when it's been spotted, or I get the sense that it's been spotted, it rears back and then shoots out out of the window or through the window, and it just like rears back and disappears out the window. And as I'm looking there, you know, just still mesmerized by what I've seen, I sit there in amazement and wonderment, just thinking like there's no way I could have seen what I just saw. There's got to be a rational explanation for it. So if it were a puddle on the outside reflecting light into my room, surely that that light would still be there. And the only way it would disappear is if the puddle outside would have just instantly evaporated. So that theory is out the window because there's no way that could have happened. So I'm thinking like, okay, maybe perhaps it was a passing car, the light from a passing car or a passing vehicle. So I sit there just like waiting for another passing vehicle to come by late into the night, and I'm waiting there for minutes on end because it's a small rural town, and just at this point of night, a lot of people are asleep already. They're already in bed, so I'm just waiting there for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes until another passing vehicle comes by, and I can hear it coming by, and the lights shine in through the window, but they don't shine in on the ceiling, or they don't shine in the way that I had perceived this orb of light. They just shine directly on the wall, um, opposite from the window, and they just kind of like swoop on by that wall, and they don't take on the appearance of the orb of light that I had just witnessed. But I don't have many theories on what that orb of light could have been. Was it a protective spirit? Was it a spirit of um, maybe someone that would come into my life later on in the future? Maybe it was a guardian angel. I don't know. Maybe it was a spirit attached to that property. I'm not sure. But one thing's for certain is that I didn't feel any fear. I didn't feel any panic, and I did not feel if this orb of light was certainly an entity, I did not feel it was anything malevolent. But what I did feel is if it were, excuse me, if it were a spirit or an entity of some sort, it was just there to observe me for some reason or another. Maybe it was curious. Maybe maybe it wanted to look over me or protect me or warn me, or but for the most part, I guess I just viewed it as something that just wanted to observe me for the brief moments that I might be asleep. But I guess I surprised it because I wasn't asleep. I was just having trouble trying to get to sleep. But anyway, that's the story behind this particular illustration. So with that, and with dinner ready and this beer pretty much done, I'll call it a night on this drink and draw session. Took a pretty creepy turn, but I hope you all enjoyed it. Sarah says she's never heard any something like that. She'd research into it more, or I should research. She says I'd research into it more if I were you. Like I haven't done much research, but I have seen like various videos or documentaries on the phenomenon known as orbs, and for the most part, they do look like just either specks of dust or water refracting light. But there are very select few videos that are similar to what I saw, and specifically, there is just one video I remember seeing in some of these paranormal videos on YouTube that take on the appearance of the exact same orb of light that I saw that one night. I wish I had it on hand, but anyway, yeah. Um, so I do believe in orbs in a sense because I have seen one, but orbs, as far as like photography goes, a lot of those orbs can be dismissed as just specks of dust or water refracting light. So there are only, I guess there's only one, more or less just one documented video evidence of an orb, which I think is pretty legit because it's very similar to what I saw that night. But yeah, maybe I'll do like more creepy stories and such. But kind of want to save it for this this persona that I have out. Oh, I forgot this folder was here. Ah, this is another one, but I'll save that for later. But I'm going to go ahead and end this stream, get myself something to eat, and perhaps do another creepy stream later. Who knows? Maybe I'll reveal that other creepy persona. But anyway, thanks for all those who participated in this stream. You all know who you are. Jessica, Sarah, let me scroll through, Christina, let's see, Cal Larkin, thought there was someone else. Whoops, 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 whoops. But yeah, you guys and gals are all amazing. I love interacting with you during these live streams and these sketch streams and whatnot. And it's always pretty fun. And to those who are just participating or watch this stream later, um, if you want to support more videos like this, I do have a Patreon. So check out my Patreon. The link is in the description below. Got a lot of free content there. If you like what you see, then think about becoming a patron of mine. If Patreon's not your thing, I also got a GoFundMe account. So if you want to still send me a few bucks here and there, just follow that link and give me a few cents because I'm senseless. No, that was a terrible joke. That was a bad joke. Stop making bad jokes, Black Horse. I'm sorry, I can't help it. And I'm also a member of DeviantArt, Furfinity, and Ink Bunny. And if you're a member of any of those sites, you can go ahead and follow me, watch me, and all that jazz. And if you like, you can reach out, send me messages, notes, give me comments, and all this stuff. Give me suggestions on what you want to see. I'm also taking requests and whatnot to compensate for my commission hiatus. And I'm slowly but surely working through that list of requests. So don't be shy about it. Reach out and talk to me and whatnot. And yeah, get me to draw stuff. That's always pretty cool. That's always pretty fun. So if you enjoyed watching this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and as always, check you all later. Sweet. Bye. Good night. And farewell. How do I stop this thing again? Jane! Jane, stop this crazy thing. Um, Jessica says nighty night. Nighty night to you. Sarah says great stream. Thank you. And oh, okay, here we go. Stop streaming. Bye.